Welcome to Birdseeds. Today's episode, we're going to talk about distractions, procrastination, things that get in the way of being productive. And as I've said before, in my morning walks, I'm listening to Jim Kwik, Limitless. So a lot of my inspirations right now are coming from concepts that he mentions in his audiobook and the application that I have to my day-to-day life and how I see these things playing out. So it's not just repeating what he has to say, but it's applying it to the way that I see things. But one of the things he said on my walk this morning that really hit home pretty well was the idea that distraction, break down the word, distraction. Distraction prevents traction. It's the opposite of traction. And what he means by that is traction is moving things forward, moving things in the right direction, moving things where you intend them to go, being intentional. And when you're distracted, you are moving against that traction. I've never broken down the word distraction. I've never thought about the different words or the different things that make up that word. Just thought distraction. So listening to it that way and hearing him break that down was awesome. I mean, totally eye-opening and changing of the way that I think about that. And, this chapter that I was listening to is really talking about how to make sure that the actions that you're doing are pushing you in the goals that you want to go. So he says, hey, if you want to check Facebook and just sort of see what's out there, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. If you just want to veg out on the couch and watch, TV, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that if that's what your goals were. If that's what you set out to do in that block of time, then you succeeded in doing that. But if your goals were to write a book or write a business plan or do something like that, and instead you chose to veg on the couch and watch, TV, where you chose to scroll your phone, and you did that instead of what you wanted to do in that block of time, that's distraction, and that has removed you from the traction of getting to your goals. And again, just hearing it that way was just so cool, so cool. And, so he talks about time blocking and removing those distractions and doing things orderly and intentionally. So, I highly recommend read his book. I'm not going to paraphrase the whole thing. Just, again, want to pull out the points that were sort of special to me. But I would encourage you to go listen to the book or read the book and listen to him talk about how he suggests that you organize and get in the right mindset for being productive and creative and all those things. And it just parallels my journey that I'm on right now so clearly and succinctly, I guess would be the way I say it. So the other place that this kind of took me in talking about not being distracted and being intentional was the idea of procrastination and the idea that, I've told myself for a long time that if I wait till the last minute to do it, I'm going to do it better because of the pressure to get it done. And so it convince myself that procrastinating actually just, yes, it makes it more stressful at the end, but I get a better product because I've pushed it to the very end and I have no other choice but to do it. And I guess you could argue in that sense that what it did is it forced me to remove the distractions because I had no other choice. It was either failure, which I don't like failing. I have a fear of failure. I'm going to do everything I can not to fail. So at that point, those are my only two options. Get it done or fail. And distractions are the avenue for that to happen. And that's why I've convinced myself that, hey, just wait till the last minute, you get it done. But really, that's an excuse that I'm telling myself because it's the only way that I've turned off distractions. So if I can then now get a hold and control that when it's not a pressure situation and just really control my focus in those moments, maybe I can get the same level of work done without having to wait till the last minute and stressing myself out. Perhaps maybe I'll get better work done because I'll have time to think about it and come back to it and edit it when I don't have that time when I'm, under the gun timing wise. So it's kind of a cool little aha breakthrough in my mind of, again, the sort of the lie I've told myself for a long time of that I had to wait, and maybe I don't. So how about you guys? I mean, I want feedback from you. Like, do you feel like you perform the best when it's high pressure, when there's a deadline, when there's no other option? Or do you feel like you perform the best when you have all the time in the world and you can really just kind of slowly take it? I'm curious. I compare as I'm sort of doing my analysis of myself. I really do enjoy kind of comparing it. Not that I want to compare it in a way of like, am I as good or do they do it better? Like, I don't want to get into that world because that's not a productive place to be. But I'm just always curious, is the way that I do it so unique and totally me, or is it something that other people, do the similar things? And I just think it's interesting. And both can be, positive and bad. So if I find out I'm the only one that does it that way, well, then that's kind of neat, but kind of lonesome. But if I find out I'm not the only one, then, it just helps you feel kind of like not ashamed, I guess would be the way to say it. Not alone in that, not lonely, that there's, other people that are like that. So curious to hear what you think and your experiences. I appreciate you guys listening so much. Again, this is Birdseeds. Make sure that you are intentional, make sure that you are focused, and that you are being productive. Thanks for listening. This is Joe Bird.